Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Khamzat Chimaev and UFC 279 and exactly what was going on and my thoughts of the whole situation that was happening. Let me just start it off with it saying that it makes no sense. I don't know why they're allowing stuff like this to happen in the UFC. I know I know Dana has even said it before in the past. We'll get into that later, that he doesn't want this in the UFC, but somehow we're allowing it. Khamzat Chimaev went to the scale. He was 8 pounds before he even got on the scale. 2 hours before he got in the scale, he was already overweight by 8 pounds. That was from Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani was the one that left that message over to Chael Sonnen, and that's what he said. Chael Sonnen has talked about this already. I highly suggest you guys go watch that video too. But his thoughts and my thoughts were very, very similar. I'm honestly really surprised, or I'm honestly glad actually, that people are thinking the same thing I am, because I thought that I was maybe going crazy, that I was just the one making things up. But a lot of people have that same idea, the same mentality that I've been having over this. And if a lot of people are saying it, if a lot of people are putting the dots together and they think that this is actually happening, it makes sense that it could be a possibility. We cannot knock this out of the park, but this is what I think has been going on. Now, Khamzat Chimaev has been known to be the next upcoming star in the UFC. The next Khabib. That's what the UFC has been wanting to be him to be coming off as. That's why they put him against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz has said this isn't about him. This is to make him. That's what they've been focusing on. They want Khamzat Chimaev to bring in those numbers. They want Khamzat Chimaev to be the next star of the UFC to eventually make more money. Now, as for what happened on Thursday. Thursday? It was Thursday. The press conference. There's a brawl. There's a huge brawl before the press conference even starts, which eventually led up to the press conference being canceled entirely. They were going to do one and then call him out and then bring out the next people one and one, call him out, bring them. That's how they were going to do it because of that brawl. But they said, no, we can't do it. We're canceling the entire press conference as a whole. That would have been super entertaining to watch. Now that didn't happen. There was a huge brawl between the teams, between Nate Diaz's team, Khamzat Chimaev's team, and Kevin Holland's team. But there was no footage. I haven't seen a single video of the fight at all. I've searched through Twitter. I've searched through YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, literally anything that you can think of, I've searched through it. I cannot find a single video, a single clip of footage from the fight, and which is really weird because you're telling me that out of all the people there, not one of them pulled out a cell phone and recorded the fight. If there is a lot of chaos, a lot of drama happening in that direction, you're telling me that not one person is gonna pull out their phone and record what's going on? That's right there suspicious. And it's funny because right after the fight, I went straight to Twitter and people were already making memes. Somebody said, Dana telling the Nate Diaz brothers, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys start a brawl in the back, this and that, this and that. It's going to be super good for headlines. We're going to get so much more money. The Diaz brothers. Why don't we just say that we started a brawl? Now, I don't think that the Diaz brothers had anything to do with this. The Diaz brothers do not give a damn about selling pay-per-view. They don't give a damn if you watch their fight. They basically don't give a fuck about anything. They just want to go out there, fight their ass off, and show everyone what they have inside them. And that's one of the reasons why I respect them a lot. Because unlike some of these fighters who just go in, play it safe, and don't show out for every single fight, don't try their hardest for every single fight, even win or lose, Nate Diaz has always done that. That him and his brother have never backed down from a fight. Well, unless you're counting Nick Diaz's last fight, but that made sense. You can't talk shit on him backing out of that fight, or not even backing out, but backing down afterwards. He saw that he knew that he had taken that much punishment. He just decided to stop. But other than that, Nick and Nate Diaz do not back down from fights. Those guys will be right in front of you all 5 rounds. They will not back down, and they're expecting you to bring your full. Because if they catch you slacking, they're gonna catch you with a nice right hook. So I don't think Nick and Nate Diaz had anything to do with this whole thing. I think it was the UFC and Hamza that were the ones that were making this entire plan. Well, basically the UFC, Hamza just listened and did what they wanted them to. And again, I know a lot of other people have said this, but these were my thoughts too before anybody had even said anything. I just had to make the video. UFC wanted more money. They saw that they weren't getting that many pay-per-views with Nate versus Khamzat Chimaev. It didn't make sense for them to watch it. Everyone was thinking that Nate Diaz was gonna get mold for some reason. I don't know why. Didn't make sense, so they decided, well, let's just not have Khamzat fight this guy. We'll let him we'll let him miss weight by 7.5 pounds, and then we'll mix him up, give everyone the fight that sounds better. It made more sense, and a lot of people want much more than the last fight. Now, my problem with that is that Khamzat Chimaev missed weight. We can't just skip over the fact that he missed weight. Half of his job of being a UFC fighter is to make weight, and he failed miserably. He didn't even fucking try. He got on the scale, he missed weight. He said, that's not that bad. Yes, fucker, it is. To miss weight by 7 pounds as a professional athlete, yes, it is that bad. And then he smiles and smirks it off, goes over there, flips off the audience, goes back on the freaking scale, flexes, and then walks off like nothing is wrong. Dude, you should be fucking fired for that shit. Stuff like that does not fly in the UFC. I've never heard of it flying in the UFC. But again, that's fucking the UFC's golden boy. That's the UFC's golden boy. They want him to do good. They want him to succeed. They want him to be the UFC's biggest name yet. They want him to be the pound for pound king later on for sure. He's the next big thing in the UFC. So it makes sense for them to cover it up. And now it goes back to what I said about Dana. Dana White said himself he does not condone any of the missing weight. In season 5, that's Nate Diaz's season. That's where Nate Diaz was competing in the Ultimate Fighter. That's the season that he won the Ultimate Fighter. One of the fighters could not make weight, and Dana White said, this is not what the UFC is about. If you can't make weight, get the fuck out. We do not take people who does not make weight.
Nothing pisses me off more than fucking guys not making weight. For months, everybody's known that this show is 155 pounds. You shouldn't be here if you can't make 155 pounds. You blew it. You're out of here. You're not gonna stay in the house, you're going home. That's what I figured. All right?
So why is there people in the UFC who cannot make weight, who think it's okay to not make weight? And then, hold on, not just that. Not just let him make weight, but also give him another fight instead, because he couldn't make weight. Oh, because you couldn't do your job, now I'm gonna make everything fit so that way you can fight. No, he missed his fucking weight. He did not complete his job. Do not pay him for what he's doing. That's just my personal experience. It might sound harsh, but if you think about it, these UFC fighters are out here working their ass off to try to make weight. Some of them almost fucking dying because they can't make the weight. And you're over here just, oh, it's okay. Here's another fight for you. Since you couldn't make your main event pay-per-view fight, let me just give you another fight really quick. That's all of a sudden perfect for you in the match card.
You guys are athletes, or you want to be anyway. That's what you fucking told us when you came here. It's fucking bullshit, man.
I don't know how it makes sense to anybody. Khamzat Chimaev should have a penalty for that. Out of his purse, out of his career. I don't know. It sounds fucked up. I might sound like a hater, but if you're not mad about this whole situation, I don't know how you should be mad over this. Charles Oliveira knew he was on weight. When he had to perform, he knew that he was on weight. Everything was perfect. That's why when he didn't make the weight, he was like, what the fuck? What are you guys talking about? I'm on weight. I know I'm on weight. They took away his freaking belt. The lightweight championship. They took that away from him because he was over by 0.5 pounds on a malfunctioned scale. This should be equal treatment. Either that or give Charles Oliveira back the belt. Because if it's okay to miss 8 pounds, Even I know that it's not a championship belt. That at the championship you have to be 100%, and this I know all that. But dude, 8 pounds as a professional, not even amateurs. My friend Tony Cortez is an amateur MMA wrestler, or he's just going to pros. But he knows, even as an amateur, that you have to be on weight. So how come the professionals don't know it? How come Khamzat didn't think, oh shit, I have to be at 171 for this fight, and thought it was okay to be at 178.5? Makes no fucking sense. The UFC is promoting people being overweight, not making weight. Let's just say Nate Diaz did say yes to Khamzat Chimaev. Let's just say Nate Diaz said, sure, I'll fight him. How do you think that would have gone? Khamzat Chimaev was nowhere near a weight cut. He was not trying at all. He was at 178. He didn't look like he was drained out. He looked like he's been drinking water. He's been eating food. Actually, how I said in that TikTok video, he was eating food. The day before, Manny Khabib went to him. He saw him in the restaurant. She saw him in a restaurant. He was eating food. He was drinking a lot of water the day before the weigh-in, which you're not supposed to do because you want to be on weight. So what the fuck? Daniel Cormier asked him 2 hours before they even weighed in, what weight are you at? That how Chael Sonnen said, that's a private thing to disclose. And he said it. Oh, I'm 8 pounds overweight. How are you 8 pounds overweight 2 hours before the weigh-ins? No. He said that he was cutting weight and that the doctor had to stop him. All of a sudden, that's the story that the UFC is going behind now. That the doctor had to stop him from cutting weight, that it was the doctor's orders, blah, 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 blah. But dude, you were 8 pounds before, 2 hours before the weigh-ins. So even so, you were not trying to make weight at all. To be 8 pounds before the weigh-ins, before the day that you have to show up, you were not trying. The UFC wanted him to be at 178.5. So that way, all of a sudden, there's a perfect match with him with Kevin Holland at 79.5. They're both, when it comes to status in the UFC, not because of all the fame that they've been pushing out on Khamzat Chimaev, because of Khamzat Chimaev, that they want him to be the golden boy. Kevin Holland could have been in that same exact position, but the UFC isn't favoring him. They're favoring their little boy, Khamzat Chimaev. That's who they want to be the next name. But in reality, they're both there. When it comes to relevancy in the UFC or ranking in the UFC, I would say they're right there. They're both in the same exact spot. They're just feeding more to Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion. So I think that they just covered it up. They said, Khamzat, we need you to fight. Let's just do it how we thought it could go. We thought we can get away with Nate and Khamzat. Everyone didn't like it. We're not getting that many buys. We're going to pretend something happens. This and that, this and that. And now, all of a sudden, Khamzat's going to be fighting against Kevin Holland and Nate Diaz against Tony Ferguson. The fight that everybody had asked for in the first place. That made sense in the first place. This is not okay, guys. UFC. Take care of this shit. Nate Diaz put in a lot of fucking money to get into the training, to get into the camp, to get into the cut. We can't just do this with a slap on the wrist. Half of the job for the fighter is to make the weight. That's it. Make the weight and then go and perform your ass off as much as you can. Those are the two jobs that the fighter has. And the rules in the UFC octagon. That's it. Make weight, perform your eyes up. Make weight, perform your ass off. Don't poke his eyes. Don't hit in the groin. And don't pull hair. That's literally the rules. So why is it okay for the guy to not do half of his job and still give him the same pay? If I see that Khamzat Chimaev got paid a lot of money for this fight, I'm going to be very disappointed, because that should not be being promoted in the UFC. I know a lot of UFC fighters are like, well, now what? We can't do anything about that. But dude, this is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. If Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev went on to keep fighting, it would have counted as cheating. 100% it would have counted as cheating towards Khamzat Chimaev. Nate Diaz has no respect. A lot of people lost respect for Khamzat Chimaev after what he pulled this week, honestly. From the fight, the backstage brawl, then to not making weight, and then having to... It was just a huge mess because of him. If you guys don't see that, I don't know how you don't see it. It makes perfect sense. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Khamzat Chimaev should be penalized either in his purse or career-wise. Honestly, I would even say that should be a suspension. Suspension or even kick him off. In reality, that's what they would do. And The Ultimate Fighter, they said, this is not what the UFC is about. If you can't make weight, you do not fit in the UFC. What happened to that, Dana? What happened to that? That's all I got for you guys today. Everyone needs to make sure that this is going the right way. Everyone needs to hold people responsible for what they did. That shouldn't be condoned. I'm surprised that they're letting Khamzat fight. The true thing was Khamzat can't make weight. Fuck that guy. He cannot make weight. He cannot show out. We kick him out of this event. We have somebody fill him in, and then we have somebody else. You know, but Khamzat was not supposed to fight. That's just my opinion. I love watching Khamzat fight. He's an entertaining fighter. I will give him that. But right now, he's just... he's a bitch, honestly. It's as simple as that. It's something that an asshole does, that a bitch does. It's unexcusable in the UFC. I don't like it. I don't condone it. The UFC shouldn't condone it, and that's my final words. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys happen to enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.